Femke Bol has suddenly become Audrey Werro's biggest problem. Wero keeps winning, but Bol keeps getting closer every time they race. Now they meet again in Lausanne, where one more step forward from Bol could completely change the women's 800-meter picture. To understand why this particular race matters so much, you have to start with what happened at Alexander Stadium. Wero arrived at the European Championships as the fastest woman in the world in 2026, and she almost lost her place in the final before she ever got to run it. In her semifinal on August 13th, leading comfortably with 120 meters to go, her foot caught and she went down hard on the track. She got back up, grabbed at her chest, and finished 16th in 2 minutes and 35 seconds. The Swiss team appealed. The referee reinstated her. On the evening of August 14th, she was standing beside Keely Hodgkinson, the Olympic champion, in front of a sold-out British crowd that wanted nothing in the world more than a home victory. Wero took the lead early and simply refused to give it back. She came through the opening lap in 56.45 seconds. She held her form through the final bend, while Hodgkinson threw everything she had at her, and she crossed the line in 1:54.81. That performance erased a championship record which had survived since 1982. Hodgkinson ran 1:55.01 for silver and still lost. Femke Bol took bronze in 1:55.54. Nobody else in that final finished within 3 seconds of the podium. What makes that night even more remarkable is where Wero was standing on September 21st, 2025. At the World Championships in Tokyo, the same young Swiss runner finished 6th in 1:56.17, more than a second behind the medals. She was a 21-year-old from Fribourg, a former European under-23 champion, and she was still being described as a promising talent rather than a genuine threat. That description has aged very badly. A gold medal like that usually buys an athlete a quiet stretch of recovery. The Lausanne start list did not allow for one. Athletissima, the Lausanne leg of the Diamond League, takes place on the evening of Friday, August 21st, at the Stade Olympique de la Pontaise. It is the 12th stop on a 15-meeting season that opened in Shanghai on May 16th and closes with the 2-day final in Brussels on September 4th and 5th. For Wero, this is not a gentle lap of honor in front of her own people. She needs points. A victory in Lausanne would effectively lock in her place in that Brussels final, where she will defend the Diamond League title she won in Zurich in 2025. There is a second layer underneath all of that. Winning the Brussels final hands an athlete guaranteed entry to the World Athletics Ultimate Championship in Budapest. So the consequences stretch far beyond one evening in Switzerland. Wero is also not the only reason the Swiss crowd is turning up. 14 European champions are competing at this meeting. Mondo Duplantis opens the whole thing on August 20th in a free pole vault event staged beside Lake Geneva, and World Hurdles champion Ditaji Kambunji races on home soil as well. And the organizers have not made Wero's life easy. The name that changes the entire shape of this field is Femke Bol, who now competes under her married name, Femke Broders Bol. For 5 consecutive seasons, Bol owned the 400-meter hurdles completely. 2 world titles, an unbeaten Diamond League streak that stretched to 30 races, and an indoor 400-meter world record that still stands. Then in October 2025, she walked away from all of it and announced she was moving up to the 800. Her first race at the distance as a senior came indoors in Metz on February 8th, where she ran 1:1:59.7 and erased a Dutch indoor record that had stood for 25 years. Her coach described it as a test run. Instead, it started a climb that has not stopped since. In Ostrava on June 16th, she ran 1:57.13. In Hengelo on June 21st, she ran 1:57.41. In Paris on June 28th, she dropped all the way to 1:55.60. And in Birmingham on August 14th, she claimed European bronze in 1:55.54, equaling a Dutch national record that Ellen van Longen set while winning Olympic gold in Barcelona in 1992, 4 outdoor races. almost 2 full seconds of improvement. That is exactly why Bol is such a serious problem. Wero has beaten her in every meeting between them in 2026, in Ostrava, then in Paris, then in Birmingham. But the margin has shrunk in every single one of those races, and Bol is still learning how to run this event properly. She has the 400-meter speed of a world record holder, and she is only now discovering what her finishing kick looks like over 2 laps. Then there is the woman, who has already done something Wero has not. Lilian Odira is the reigning world champion. In Tokyo on September 21st, 2025, the Kenyan walked into that final ranked 17th in the world and walked out with a championship record of 154.62, taking almost 2 seconds off her personal best and running down both Georgia Hunter-Bell and Keely Hodgkinson inside the closing 20 meters. The record she erased that evening had belonged to Jarmila Kratochvilova since 1983. Odira is a completely different kind of runner from Wero. She sits, she waits, she allows the front runners to do all the hard work, and then she arrives late and extremely fast. That is precisely the profile that punishes a front runner, and Wero leads from the gun by choice. Odira has also been building steadily through 2026. At the Prefontaine Classic in Eugene on July 4th, she beat Keely Hodgkinson down the home straight in 1:56.9 for her first ever Diamond League victory. On July 31st, she collected silver at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. Her season best does not look threatening beside Wero's 1:53.80, but Odira has never really been about season bests. She is about the last 100 meters, and everybody in that field knows it. The two of them have already met once in 2026 at the Rabat Diamond League in May, and Wero handled that one comfortably with Odira finishing third. But Rabat came early in the calendar, before either woman had found her real sharpness, so nobody should be reading too much into it. Now, the rest of this start list is considerably deeper than the headline suggests. Prudence Sekadiso of South Africa is a former world indoor champion and an Olympic finalist over 2 laps. Her 2026 has been built around recovering from the hamstring injury that wrecked her Tokyo campaign, and she still produced a personal best of 156.83 in Paris on June 28th. Addie Wiley of the United States holds the American record over 1,000 meters and finished third behind Odira in Eugene on July 4th. Sage Herta-Klecker placed 5th in that Tokyo World Final. Oratul No of Botswana finished 4th at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. 2 more Swiss athletes, Valentina Rosamilia and Veronica Voncardo, will hear exactly the same roar that Wero does. The number nobody in Lausanne is saying out loud is 153.28. That is the world record Jarmila Kratochvilova set in Munich on July 26, 1983, and it remains the oldest standing record in women's athletics. Wero ran 1:53.80 in Paris on June 28th. She is now the 3rd fastest woman in history. She owns 4 of the 5 quickest times produced anywhere in the world in 2026. And she holds the only 2 performances under 1:54 that anybody has managed since the 1980s.